Hi there, favorites. We're going to start on our decorations for this cake smash size that I have. Here's some food coloring that's oil based, specifically for chocolate. It's from Cake Flora, but the tag has come off because of the oil. I haven't purchased these, so you shake it. I haven't repurchased in a while, so I don't know if they've like improved the formula and the pigment and things like that. I've had this on for a while, so if I won't use something like this that's suitable for chocolate, I'll use a concentrate powder, usually raw chem. This is Barco though. Usually raw chem, because it just works out a lot better than most of these. You have to use quite a bit. We're gonna make some chocolate balls. They do make these in styrofoam, which is a non-edible version, and I use those as well when I can't find I use those as well when I can't find, like for deeper colors and metallics. Like my gold balls are usually non-edible. They just look better. They really just do. They're easier to deal with. We have a cake that we're making for the hospital. They ordered a cake for one of their kids is going home, one of their preemies, and purple is the color for preemies. I don't know if you guys know that, but that's what it is. Okay, let's see. I'm going to end up painting these mats. So we have a smaller mat here and a bigger one, not that big. And I end up painting these circles a total of 3 times to have them at the thickness that I want. I don't like the pouring method because it's messier, but also I end up having to color more chocolate than I'm going to use. And then I have too many little blobs of chocolate stacking up left over. I don't like that. You clean that up. We're going into the colder months, so I'm just gonna leave this at room. It'll set. Clean this up also. Them to set. Can work on the teddy bear. We have some fondant here. It's my really old. And Tylos. I want this to firm up. See, this is something you can do like days in advance and keep so that it dries out nicely. I'm going to have to use a considerable amount of Tylos or CMC to get it to harden the way I want. This cake leaves in the morning. It's late in the afternoon now. Mix it in. We're gonna make a very simple teddy bear with the, I'm simply not charging enough to do more elaborate themes. Here's our cutter. We're gonna go right in. And then this is going to make the face for us. Some indentations into the cake. How pretty. And I like a bow for it, so I'm gonna choose a bow size that feels suitable for this. Some of these look big. I think this one will do. Pretty now. It's gonna go right there. Stick it down with some water. Set this aside. If you're gonna put it on top of the cake, run a skewer through it to make it a bit thicker and run a skewer through that. But that's, I'm gonna put it on the side, and it will harden it room, but I'll also reinforce it using some ganache. You'll see later. And with our second coat.
West Zealand is a very tight-knit community. If you walk down the street, you'll probably see somebody you know or are friends with.
That I read in one of the local Facebook groups. Corsair right now that a woman is looking.
This in the fridge now, so when I'd mold it, nothing breaks off. Not even for that, for like 2 minutes or 5. Be busy with something else, and then we're gonna take the half spheres out and do another batch of the mats in a deeper color of purple, so we have the contrast of the two colors. Here we are, and there we are. See, nice and thick. They're not gonna break on me. This thickness works for me. They will not break on me. Nice and thick, but thin enough that they'll be lightweight on the cake, but thick enough that they're not going to break on me when I'm working with them. So I realized that I just stopped talking at some point. You need to warm up this plate. It's not some magic plate where you can just rub the spheres or half spheres and it's gonna pan out for you. No, heat up your plate. I have a side plate here. You can use anything. Put that in the microwave, heat that up for about 2 minutes. Feel if it's hot enough. Again, it's rather cold now, so the plate is gonna cool down very quickly. So heat it up enough and use a washcloth or a hand glove or something when removing it from the microwave so that you don't burn from doing that. And because the plate is hot, you can rub your spheres on there or half spheres on there because they're chocolate, they'll melt, and then you can just stick them together and you have, you know, a perfect sphere after doing that. And I had to do this for both the colors because I really wanted a full balloon effect and stuff. The reason I do this instead of like maybe filling them with something is that you need them to be as lightweight as possible. Otherwise they're gonna weigh the cake down. Like, it's not gonna work. So you can't put you can't make them into cake pops, especially if you're going to use so many of them. So if you're using, maybe you have the person or you have the teddy holding, say, 2 balloons or something like that. That's a cute little thing. You may use the typical cake mixture, like a truffle mixture, a cakesicle mixture, and stuff that in there. I still would avoid doing that if I can, only because, you know, you don't want it to like fall or come away from the cake or anything like that. And now I'm gonna go in and stack our cake. Now this is a vanilla sponge that we were working with, and I use buttercream on the inside of the cake. I always use buttercream. Ganache is what I use on the exterior, right? And what I use at the base to stick down the cake onto the cake board, because it's going to be stronger, it's going to be firmer. And you guys have seen me do this process now a few times of, you know, stacking a cake. And I fill this one with some creme pâtissière, which is just pastry cream or pastry custard. And on the outside, I'm using whipped white chocolate ganache. I always whip my ganache. I find it easier to work with that way. it goes to a consistency that I feel mimics buttercream a little bit, which is still something I'm still very comfortable with. When I was starting off working with ganache, I was very like, I'll do my color work in buttercream still because it's such little work that I'm doing on the outside. But I now actually finish off the entire thing using ganache, especially if I know the cake is going to sit out for a while, or, things are up in the air. Again, this is for the hospital, right? So doctors are doing rounds and this one's not available, and I've had to put together a pre-me day for them before because my mom used to work in that ward, so I know how it can go. I needed the cake to be nice and sturdy, so ganache all the way through. And then you see me like rolling out some strips. I used fondant and I used like a pizza cutter. Is it a pizza cutter? But it's very tiny. It gives me smaller strips. Obviously you can use an extruder, but my extruder is not in the best of conditions. Like, it spits out the little things that are supposed to give me the shape I'm looking for. So this method works for me, and I use that to make the strings that look like they're holding up the balloons. And yeah, that is this process done and dusted. And then I just had to finish up putting the teddy on and other things. Teddy, it's upside down. I'm strapped for time. You can put this in your oven on a lower setting, the lowest setting, for about, an hour, and then take it out to cool and it'll be chalk hard. I'm not turning on the oven for that. It's not that bad. You see, it's not flopping over or anything, but I want it to hold its shape a lot better. So I'll just pipe some ganache like I'm flooding a cookie. Shout out to the girls who flood biscuits and stuff. That's what I'll do. I'm honestly not very precious with it. I'm neat enough so it doesn't make a mess. And then I'll fill it in. Like that and let it sit in the fridge or at room if it's having a cold day, or you can smooth it out. But I'm not too precious about it because nobody's gonna see it. Nobody's seeing this. It's just for extra support to make this a bit more rigid and help it to hold its shape without flopping over like fondant has the tendency of doing if it's not dry enough. Done the same here. We have the baby's starting weight. They were born at 900 grams. Can you believe that? Can you believe that? So I'm just gonna leave this one so you guys get to see that I do sometimes use it just as is. I'm not gonna smooth it out, but I wanted to sort of stand away from the cake. It's still, you see. So I'm gonna put them in the fridge to sit. And they're graduating at 1.8. They get to go home. Sorry I wasn't recording. And this is her all done. Baby Livia's pram grad. That's where we are now. That we were born at 900. I can't get over that. How cute. So look at our balloon. The cake weighs more than the baby. I swear.